Hello, explorers of your inner universe. My name is Anea, and on this channel, we explore psychology and work on our personal growth together. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the world's most famous, discussed, and seemingly perfect couples, David and Victoria Beckham. An icon of style, a symbol of success, a beautiful family. Their public image is flawless. But what happens behind this glossy picture? Recently, a bombshell headline shook the world. Their eldest son, Brooklyn, has officially cut all contacts with the family. Communication now only happens through lawyers. He didn't show up for his father's 50th birthday, lives in a mansion bought by his wife's parents, and has effectively erased Beckham from his life. So, what went wrong in this seemingly perfect system? Why was I not surprised by this news? In fact, I almost expected it. Let's set aside the gossip and tabloids and look deeper. Today, we are conducting a psychological dissection of this pair. We will understand how their inner worlds, their traumas, and their survival strategies created this magnificent brand, but perhaps destroy the possibility of simple human closeness. Let's begin. Let's start with David. To understand the dynamic of their relationship, we need to unpack the core of his personality. Here we see two dominant, very strong structures. The first is a healthy neurotic level narcissism. Yes, in this context, it's not an insult. It's the very engine that allowed a guy from an ordinary family, a middle son of a hairdresser, to believe in his stardom and reach incredible heights. He has a good assessment of his attributes, reads public expectations well, and knows how to be liked. This is a social adaptive functional narcissism. It doesn't consume him from the inside, it serves as fuel. But the second fundamental part is an obsessive compulsive personality structure. This is where his secret to success lies. The primary way such a personality interacts with reality is through total control. Control over the body, over the image, over the result. Those are the intrusive thoughts. I must be the best. And the compulsive actions, endless training. Imagine out of 50 years of life, 45 years of daily grueling training, not just football, it's iron discipline, superhuman effort every single day, even during periods of depression, after failures, amidst accusations of affairs. He went and trained. His willpower, his capacity for systematic work is phenomenal. This is his obsessive compulsive core in action. And there is also a small, about 10% depressive part in him, the one that seeks an ideal to join. And as we will see later, it played a key role in his choice of partner. Now, Victoria. And here on the surface seems to be the complete opposite, a girl from a very wealthy family, but psychologically a striking similarity to David on a deep level. She also has a powerful obsessive compulsive core, and its origins are in her childhood. She herself speaks on hyper controlling, strict parents with impossibly high standards. Such a parent sees in a child not a person but their narcissistic extension. You must be perfect, the best. You must live up to a high status. From an early age, for such children, natural impulses I want are replaced by social I must. An unbearable internal shame is formed. I cannot show myself to the world as I am. I am not enough. And the only way out is total control. Control over appearance, over speech, over image. She didn't just want to dress well, she made style her weapon and proof of worth. But unlike David's healthy narcissism, Victoria has a covert, inferiority based narcissism, a wounded one. She wasn't recognized at school. Her parents doubted her abilities. Inside, a constant feeling of, I'm not enough, I'm inadequate. And from this comes her legitimized harsh aggression. Look at how she built the brand and holds the entire dynasty in her hands. It's a defense. And unlike David, she has a very strong depressive personality structure. A key episode that reveals this is the story of the infertility diagnosis. A young woman hearing terrible news immediately goes to her beloved man and offers to break up. I won't be able to give you an ideal family. You should find someone better. This is not a rational step. It's a deep, childish conviction. There is something wrong with me. I am unworthy. I must self destruct so as not to hinder the ideal. This is the trauma of early abandonment, the search for fault within oneself. And so these two meet. What happens? Their psyches interlock perfectly. Her depressive part sees in him the ideal, and Apollo as start someone to join to become enough herself. His depressive part is also looking for an ideal to admire and finds it in this ambitious, stylish, famous girl. Their obsessive compulsive part immediately find a common language. We will be the best. We will build the perfect brand. We will control every aspect of our lives and image. Their narcissistic parts add up and multiply. Not 1 plus 1 equals 2, but 1 plus 1 equals 11. Their wedding is the apogee of the narcissistic facade. Crowns, a castle, posing as monarchs. They created not a family in the usual sense, but a social contract and an energy brand. They amplify each other not as a man and a woman, but as two powerful commercial projects. David becomes a global style icon, Victoria, a respected designer. They create the image of a team. But where in this contract is the room for simple human closeness, for vulnerability, for mistakes? There is none. And this leads us to the main cracks. And now we come to the most delicate part, the affairs. Given David's character, the rumors seem very plausible. Why? Remember his obsessive compulsive core, control, and what happens when a person suppresses everything with an iron will for years. Sooner or later, a breakdown occurs. And these breakdowns for him are impulsive, permission given in nature. Either he is the perfect father, farmer, role model, or parties in Portugal, clubs, assistants. It's a swing between total control and completely letting it go. And Victoria, her obsessive compulsive part in response only tightens the screws. She becomes colder, more detached. Look at her early Spice Girls photos. There was a lively, smiling, spontaneous girl, and now a frozen, tense, almost never smiling in public snow queen. She takes on the role of the controlling parent in this relationship. And here's the key point. In their dyad, there is always a third. First, it was the public evaluating their facade. Then, the mistresses giving David the emotion and escape from control that is absent in the primary contract. Later, children would become this third. In such a system, closeness between two is impossible. It's too dangerous, too demanding of vulnerability. It's easier to create a triangle. And so we come to the final act, the estrangement with the son. Brooklyn didn't just run away, he became the one who blew up the system from within. He was the firstborn, born soon after the infertility diagnosis. He is living proof of their victory, the first brick in the facade of the ideal family. But what does it mean to grow up in such a system? Harsh standards and coldness. Victoria is a strict, controlling mother. David is warmer, but absorbed in his brand, and as we see in his relationship with his daughter, which also speaks of unresolved psychological boundaries. The message after 18, no handouts, achieve on your own. The contrast with his wife's generous parents, who gifted a mansion, is obvious. A role in the triangle, most likely Brooklyn Long played the role of emotional support for his mother, was her ally in the cold system, breaking free and receiving in his new family what he was deprived of: unconditional support, warmth, acceptance, he performed a radical act, completely severed contract. He refused to be part of that facade. For a narcissistic system, there is no greater insult. This isn't just a quarrel, it's a total denial of its value. His departure is a symptom, the culmination of all the processes we've talked about. When the brand is more important than closeness, when control is more important than warmth, when the facade is more important than feelings, sooner or later someone on the inside cracks and leaves, slamming the door. So, what do we have in the end? The story of David and Victoria is not a tale of villains and victims. It's a tragic comedy about two strong, traumatized people whose psychological defenses aligned perfectly to create a global empire. But in doing so, killed the simple possibility of being together. It shows us that even behind the glossiest facade, there can be coldness, loneliness, and childhood wounds that no amount of money can fix. That control and perfectionism are a poor foundation for intimacy, and the children always either become perpetuators of the facade or those who shatter it, fighting for their rights to a real life. Perhaps their brand will survive even this scandal, but the price this family has paid for their perfect picture turns out to be incredibly high. What are your thoughts on this story? Have you encountered similar perfect facade in your own life? I'd love to read your perspective in the comments below. If you found this psychological deep dive valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps the channel. And if you are ready to keep exploring your inner universe and working on your personal growth together, then I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching my video. See you in the next one. Love you. Bye.